Hey, real quick, before we dive into today's episode, if you've been feeling like your brand needs a little love, but you're not quite sure where to start, I have just the tool you need. The Standout Brand Audit Bot is an AI-powered guided audit that shows you exactly what's working, what's not, and how to strengthen your brand using my proven Standout brand system. In 10 minutes or less, you'll walk away with clear next steps to move your brand forward with purpose. It's completely free. Just head to the show notes to grab the link and get started. It can be so frustrating when you know you're doing all the right things, the strategy, the messaging, the offers, you name it, but you still feel stuck. In today's episode of the Six Figure Brand Podcast, I'm sitting down with Jen Lemke. She's a subconscious success coach trained in NLP, hypnotherapy, and EFT. She helps ambitious women break free from overthinking, procrastination, and other self-sabotaging behaviors by rewiring the identity-level patterns that stall action and income. Her work blends neuroscience, subconscious reprogramming, and real-world execution, delivered with bold honesty and zero fluff. Jen and I are going to be getting into the difference between our conscious and subconscious mind, why most of our blocks are hidden so deep we don't even know they're there, and she's going to share 3 journal prompts to help us start uncovering what's actually holding us back. We're also talking morning routines, investing in yourself versus your business, and why the inner work is always the work that moves the needle most. If you've been feeling like you just can't seem to get out of your own way in your business, this episode is for you. Welcome to the Six Figure Brand Podcast, where each week we're pulling back the curtain on what it really takes to build a six-figure business as an online service provider. I'm your host, Morgan. I'm a branding expert, online agency owner, mom of 2, and military spouse, and I'm obsessed with helping entrepreneurs like you understand the ins and outs of branding so that you can use it to grow your business without sacrificing your sanity. Whether you're just starting out or focused on scaling, we're diving into everything you need to build a profitable and sustainable online business. Let's get to it. Welcome back to the Six Figure Brand Podcast. I'm so excited to have my friend Jen Lemke with us today. She is a subconscious success coach trained in NLP, hypnotherapy, and EFT. Jen, thank you so much for being here.
I'm so excited. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, me too. So I love to start out every episode with just kind of asking you to share your business origin story. So what do you do? How did you get here? And what were you doing before your online business?
I've been in the online space for probably 15 years. I was an esthetician for like 13 and I was working a full-time job. I was single, living in the city. And then one day I found a fitness program, which I did from home. And all of a sudden, the next thing you know, I am in a network marketing company helping people get more fit. And so I did not intend on joining network marketing at all, but one thing led to another. And 3 years later, my network marketing business that was on very, very part-time hours outgrew my income for my aesthetics career. And then one day I woke up pregnant and my then husband or my then boyfriend and now husband and I are like, boy, I can either commute an hour each way with a newborn, or I can just do what I wanted to do anyway. I saw the whole thing. The stages, the trips, the big, huge team and all that. Like, I'm going to build my business from home behind my desk. I'm going to be a work at home mom. And so I retired from aesthetics. And within months, I realized that there's so many changes when you have a kid. I was 41. I had never worked from home before. I never had any experience with kids before. And I'm trying to do the whole newborn mom thing and try to keep my business afloat. And what I was told was just work when the baby naps. And I'm like, it's going to be beautiful. I'm just going to work when the baby naps. And then my son doesn't sleep. He sleeps for like these 15 minutes, an hour on a good day. Like it was crazy. Like, I'm like, this is not how I read it was supposed to be in the books. And so months went by and I'm like working in the morning, nap time hustle. Like I wore that on my sleeve like a badge of honor, like nap time hustle. I was working, I would sit down at 9:00 at night with a big red fishbowl sized glass of wine, celebrating that I got through the day while I've got my computer on my lap. I'm like weekends, nights, vacations. I was constantly working. And it's like I did everything all the gurus told you to do. Hire help, get a babysitter, get a VA, do all those things. I did all those things and nothing was working. And I found myself, my son was like 3 and I'm like, it was a downward spiral. Like my team was quitting. Like I felt like garbage. I couldn't, coach my way out of a paper bag. And then previous to that, it was like one late night breastfeeding session. You know how you get into those things and you're on Instagram or some social media. And I'm like, subconscious mindset. What is that? And I was into mindset as it was. And it's so funny when I think back to it now because my mindset was such a dumpster fire. Yet I prided myself on reading the most books, listening to the most podcasts, doing all those things while I was walking my son. It's just like I felt like my mindset was so steady, yet it was just like a total dumpster fire. And so I just started reading about the subconscious mindset. I'm like, okay, this is clearly the missing piece of the puzzle because I'm here. I want to get here. And there's this big, huge gap. And it was the gap. And so I signed up to learn more about it and all that, but I'm like, I can't wash a bottle or pee, let alone study for all this other education. I'm just going to put this on the back burner. And so I got myself into this place where I'm like, I either need to quit or I need to hire a coach. So I hired a coach and literally within 2 weeks, I was like, the clouds started to part. I was like, oh, everything is beautiful. And within a month, no, not a month, probably 6 weeks, I decided to shut down my network marketing business. I studied all the things that I had purchased and got certified. 180 of hours, 2 weeks away from home, all these things. And it's so funny how like when you're focused on what it is that you actually want, all of a sudden like the time opens up. Like I always tell myself, I don't have enough time when I have enough time. But literally time was not the thing. It was just that I was focused on what I didn't want and what I didn't yet have instead of what I actually wanted and the thing that actually lit me up. And so I made my first $1,000, got my first client within 6 weeks of working with a coach. And here we are.
Yeah, that's amazing. You touched on so many good things. The network marketing in particular is interesting. I've had another guest on the podcast who also started in network marketing. And I know nowadays it doesn't have a good reputation for the most part. But I think that is where a lot of us started, or at least got our first taste for like self-employment or online business or whatever.
Yeah.
And I really think that while I would not go start a network marketing business right now, I think that you learn so many good skills by doing that you can then apply to your business.
Absolutely.
That are frankly like really hard to learn if you don't have kind of a container to do that.
Yeah.
So how do you think that your network marketing experience kind of like influenced the way that you ran your business when you transitioned into like really doing your own thing?
You know, when I first started network marketing, I didn't even, for as much as I'm a researcher, like I didn't even realize it was network marketing. All I wanted to do was help people in the fitness space. And so when literally it was weeks before I even learned that it was network marketing. And had I known, I probably wouldn't have signed up because of all the preconceived notions that I thought it was. So I went into it with a blank slate. Like all I wanted to do was help people. And it's just like, you just start jumping into that bubble. And when you're in the bubble with all the people doing the things this way, you just naturally gravitate towards what they're doing. And the leaders just teach you that they teach you what works best for them. And you just hand it down and hand it down and hand it down. All of a sudden, like I'm posting on Instagram, these vulnerable stories that I would have never even shared otherwise. And you just learn. And it's funny because when you get yourself outside of that bubble, and it's the same thing for business, when you get yourself outside of those people, you see things so completely differently. And so network marketing, as much as, I was in it for a long time, it was such a blessing to be able to start there, because if I started just in business alone, I don't think I'd be as far ahead of myself as I am now. So it was almost like training wheels for what the real thing was.
Yeah, for sure. And I did the opposite. Went to college for graphic design, got a corporate job, was like, oh man, I hate this. I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. Started freelancing and then was like, oh shoot, I have a business. And I didn't have like the training wheels or the container to learn all those other skills. Kind of building the plane as you fly it sort of a thing was not easy. Like it was really overwhelming to be like, okay, I need to deliver my thing that I do, but I also need to learn how to run a business and what the heck is social media marketing and like creating content and all these things. So I can imagine that having, I don't know, like a framework, or like I like the training wheels analogy, would make taking that dive into your own business feel a little bit less scary, because you have that like reassurance of, okay, I've kind of done this before.
Yeah.
Is your brand feeling a little off? Like your visuals, messaging, and your overall vibe just are not lining up with where your business is headed? You probably don't need another pretty logo. You actually need a solid strategy behind your brand. That's exactly what we'll build together inside the Standout Brand Strategy session, a one-on-one deep dive into your brand foundation so that you can finally show up with clarity, consistency, and confidence. And if you're thinking about working with Spect & Co. on branding or web design, this is your first step for every single project that we do together. Clients who have gone through this process have tripled their audience size, doubled their revenue, and raised their rates by 30% or more. Use the link in the show notes to book your session, and don't forget to enter code SFBPOD at checkout to save $100.
I've done this before. I know how social media works. Now I just have to pivot from one message to another message. And that was, I mean, it's not easy. You know how messaging is. Mm-hmm. You're like, now like it's literally like taking off one hat and putting on another. And it's just like, now I think about it, it was like such an identity shift because I was known as the fit girl. I was known as the fitness mom, the one who always worked out. And now like it's like so funny because I literally had to give myself permission to stop working out 5 days a week because I realized I'm like, that's not a normal activity for a lot of people. And when I think about it, it's actually not very relatable because most people don't work out 5 to 6 days a week. And so I had to be okay with not doing the things that made sense to me then and instead develop a whole entire new mindset about what habits I actually wanted going into it.
Yeah. And I think like this leads so well into the work that you're doing now because it's really you're taking off the hat of promoting someone else's business or like sharing someone else's message. And now you're sharing your own message, which can feel really, really personal. Scary and vulnerable.
Very personal. And it's like when you're in the network marketing space, yes, it's vulnerable, but they're not your products. No.
It's and you have like somebody else is telling you what to say.
Exactly.
These are the features. Yeah. Here's what to talk about. You put your own spin on it. That's great.
Yep.
I imagine that it would be really scary to then be like, oh no, I'm the product now. Like my coaching, my services are what I'm selling is a whole different ballgame.
Absolutely. And it's like when I'm coaching clients, one of the big things is like, they don't come to me with a bazillion testimonials to back themselves up. And what I always tell them is like, they have to be their own biggest cheerleader before anybody is going to pat them on the back. And that's really hard to do when you don't have proof in your idea, when you don't have, all the clients behind you to tell you that, ABC worked. And it's just like you have to have so much trust and faith in your ability to create something and know if it's working or not, and then pivot if it's not. And it's just in the beginning stages, it's just like nobody tells you how hard it is in the very beginning. You're just flying blind and you're like, I'm just going to do this, a little bit of that. And it's like when you look back on it, it's like that was really brave of me to just jump in with 2 feet and it's almost better that you don't know because then you take so much more, I feel like you can take so much more risk because you don't know how it's going to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Naivety is definitely a blessing in a lot of ways when it comes to starting your own business. But I tell people all the time, running your own business and like being self-employed and doing what we're doing is really the biggest like personal development journey you are ever going to embark on. And unfortunately, nobody warns us about that. So for me, when I quit my 9-to-5, I remember so clearly for like 3 days, I was just like a wreck. And I'm not like an overly emotional person generally, but I was like super irritable and I was crying and everything. And I literally asked my husband, like, something is wrong with me. I don't know what's going on. And I think that like all of the pressure of trying to do both for such a long time was finally lifted. And I like had a second to like breathe and think. And then I was also really overwhelmed at the idea of like, okay, it's all on me now. And I was just completely unprepared for all the feelings.
Would you call it the death of an ego? Because I feel like I've kind of been through something like that too. And it's like an identity crisis where you are one thing and now you're another. And it's just like letting go of that old version of you and choosing to step into the new version when you don't even know what it looks like.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, for context, I was also like 3 weeks away from getting married. So there was that. But I think
no pressure.
In hindsight, like, yeah, I think that does make a lot of sense. I just remember thinking like, I've been working so hard towards this and like, I should be so like happy and excited. And I don't really feel happy and excited. I feel like overwhelmed and cryy and like sad. And so now when like I have a very small handful of business coaching clients and I have 2 recently who have left their 9-to-5s in the last like year and a half, 2 years. And all of them, I have warned them and been like, build in like 3 or 4 days for yourself where you just don't have a lot of obligations. Cause I know you think you're going to be fine, but like you might not be. And I think that speaks so much to what's going on in our subconscious and our mindset and all the things that we don't think about. And it can kind of smack us in the face once in a while.
Isn't it so funny too? Because it's like when you finally have time like off You always fill it with something. It's like, for me, like I always needed to be doing something. And when you allow yourself to just not do anything, it's really freaking uncomfortable. And that's usually when all those downloads come and all those emotions come out. It's like because you're finally allowing yourself to just think and be without having to do. And that's where I find like a lot of my breakthroughs, like those questions that, I just can't figure out the answer to. It's like because they're in your conscious mind, but they're stuck in your subconscious. So like I'll go to like the forest reserve and do like a 3-mile walk with no phone or anything. And it's just like finally when you allow yourself to just think and just not have anything else to do, is like those things finally come out.
Yeah. Untangling my value from my productivity has been a theme in my life. The last several years for sure, because I think I was in high school and working, and then I was in college and working and doing internships, and then I had 2 jobs, and then I had a job and my business, and then all of a sudden I had just my business. And exactly what you said, I was like, I need to be doing more. Like I created this business so I could have control over my time and enjoy my life and blah, 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 blah. But now I'm filling every single second with like things I don't really actually need to be doing. And it took me a very, very, very long time, really probably until I had kids, to get to that point to be like, okay, no, like laying on the couch and snuggling my baby actually isn't like productive. Like that counts.
Yeah. Yeah. And
so that was hard
so
for
much,
me. And
do you ever feel guilt from that?
Yeah, all the time. I was like, oh, I should put the baby down and be vacuuming or like
cleaning something,
whatever. And it took quite some time. I was a lot better about it with my second baby, I think, because I didn't have as much space to do that. So when I did, I like really enjoyed it. But yeah, it was really hard to be like, no, this is actually the thing I need to be doing right now, is like sitting on the couch with my child and just doing nothing and being together. And for somebody who is an achiever, for sure, like that was so hard. And I feel like that is pretty relatable to a lot of our listeners. I think also to your point of like going for a walk with no phone, we are always multitasking. Like I went running yesterday and I was listening to a podcast while I was running. Like we're never just doing just the thing that we're doing. There's always like something going on in the background or something else we're thinking about. And to your point about like you have the answers, but they're stuck in your head, I think taking that space is so important. So for the big question for this episode, can you tell us the difference between our conscious and our subconscious and like what we do with that information as business owners?
Yeah. So you've got all this information coming in through your 5 senses all day, every single day. And I think that's like 17 million bazillion bits of information at any given time. And so your brain can't possibly process all that stuff. So it filters. It filters what is important to you, depending upon your belief system, depending upon your goals, depending upon what it is that you actually want. And so even just for like goal setting, your conscious mind is only responsible for 95% of your day. It's your thinking mind. It's the thing you analyze with. It's like you're trying to figure out stuff. But your subconscious mind is actually the workhorse, and it's responsible for 95% of your total brain power, because it's the habits, it's the behaviors, it's the thoughts, it's the reactions, it's the automatic things that happen without you even having to do anything about it. It's like when you get out of bed, which foot do you get out of bed with? It's like when you brush your teeth, at what point in your day do you brush your teeth? Those are like those automatic habits that is just subconsciously who you are. So when we, like in context of goal setting, when you are goal setting, it's like I teach my clients to goal set with their subconscious mind, because that's 95% of the work, whereas your conscious mind is only the 5%. And so when you can add in, what do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? What do you taste? All those kinds of things into the goal setting process, your goal becomes an actual thing that you can hold. You can see it. You can feel it. It drums up emotion. And you've got part of your brain called the reticular activating system. And once that is elicited, you start heading towards your goals. And it's like these things that were always there are now obvious to you because you are attracting them. And so, for instance, like a good example, you've probably heard this before, is like you decide that you want to buy a red Jeep. You go to the Jeep dealership, you're like, I want a red Jeep. And then on the way home, you see 80,000 red Jeeps. You're like, is there a red Jeep sale or something? It's like, no, you've just decided that you want something and now you happen to see them. They were always there, but your brain was filtering it out because it wasn't in your conscious awareness. And so your conscious mind is obviously, important, but what most people don't understand is like, it's the subconscious part of your mind that actually is the power horse, the workhorse. And it works 24/7, 365. It's always recording everything, even when you sleep. And so that's why a lot of times you hear, a great way to reprogram your subconscious mind is through hypnosis. It's because when your conscious mind, what hypnosis does, and a lot of people think that it's like woo-woo, witchcrafty kind of stuff, but it's actually like if you want to believe I am wealthy and you're looking at your bank account and your bank account is like, sister, we have a problem. Your brain is not going to believe that you're wealthy because you literally aren't wealthy. And so for me, when I'm doing my reprogramming, I either do it first thing in the morning or late at night. And first thing in the morning, your brain isn't completely turned on. So when you say those suggestions or those affirmations, it goes straight to your subconscious mind and it helps to rewire it. Versus if you say an affirmation like in the middle of the day at 2:00, your brain's like, that's not even a thing. You're crazy. And so either in the morning is the best time or in the evening before you go to bed. I'll even go to bed listening to hypnosis because your conscious mind will take a back seat and your subconscious mind, that affirmation will go right to your subconscious mind, and that's where the root of the thought is, or the belief that you want to rewire. And so you don't have to necessarily, like if you want to believe, I am wealthy. I'll just use that for an example. If you want to believe I am wealthy and you aren't wealthy, but you need to believe things about wealth, the best time to rewire that is very early in the morning or, late at night through hypnosis. It works so well. And it's because it's almost like I've talked about this before. It's like when you're going into a club, let's go back to our 20s. You're going into a club and the bouncer is there with the fake ID. And your conscious mind is the bouncer with the fake ID. And he's like, nope, you're not getting in. You're not old enough. But all of the fun stuff is in the club, right? And so you want to get to the club, but you can't because your conscious mind is the bouncer saying you can't get in. And that's kind of how it is with your mind. It's just like you have to be able to reprogram those thoughts at the optimal time so that your conscious mind doesn't get in the way of it, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And I think that a lot of us will relate to the feeling of like not being able to get out of our own way, sort of. And I guess I wonder from you, like I don't know, it's kind of like how, everyone could benefit from going to therapy. Everyone could benefit from working on their subconscious, right? But what are some like big, maybe not red flags, but key indicators that like that's somewhere that we should focus?
What's the context? If someone's in their own way?
Yeah, like in our business, if we're struggling, having a hard time, whatever, how do we know like maybe my subconscious is the problem or a large part of the problem?
Yeah, it comes from, the thoughts and the beliefs that you have, and a lot of times they're hidden. And so an example would be, I was journaling one day and I was journaling something out and I had no idea that this was even a thing. But what I wrote out is more success equals more to lose. And so, of course, I would take 2 steps forward and I would take 3 steps back because subconsciously, at some point in the past, I learned that the more success you have, the more you have to lose because of things that have been a past experience for me. And so if people feel like they're spinning around, a lot of my clients come to me because they're doing all the things, but for some reason it's not working and they want to work on their messaging. That's a big thing. It's like people want to work on their messaging. It's got to be my messaging, right? And of course, messaging is important, but you also have to take into consideration what are the beliefs and thoughts and behaviors that you're bringing into the messaging, because you could have the most fire messaging in the whole entire world, but if that energy, if you've got subconscious thoughts of I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, if I succeed, I'm going to lose time with my family. If the more success I have, the more I have to lose. If you've got beliefs like that aren't necessarily something that you're working on, that are subconsciously programmed because of past experiences, of course, it makes sense as to why you're not moving as fast as you can because you've got these things holding back. It's like 1 foot on the gas and 1 foot on the brake. 3 things that I would do is if I were to kind of dig into this and see what's actually in there, because a lot of the things like we'll know if we've got like, well, maybe my stuff's not good enough. Like, if you've got a belief, you got to work on that belief. But it's like the belief behind the belief. Those are the subconscious blocks that most likely are hidden. And so I would love to give 3 different questions you can ask yourself in order to be able to start bringing those things out. A lot like I did with the more money I make, the more I have to lose. So the first one is, if I fully succeed, I might lose what? So write that out on a journal. If I fully succeed, I might lose what? And the second one is, if I fully succeed, I might have less of. And the third one is, if I fully succeed, I'll never have what? And so if you spend some time with just you and your pen and your journal and you start journaling on those questions, you will be amazed at what comes out. because that's what helped me figure out what some of my blocks were.
Yeah. Yeah. And I already the ideas are spinning in my head and I'm not even taking the time to think about it that hard. But I think I had someone on a little while ago to talk about money mindset. And that was one of the things that we talked about of people are doing all the right things and they know they have a great product and blah, 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 blah. And they just never take the time to stop and think that, somewhere 10, 20 years ago when they were a kid, they learned some belief about money and that's really holding them back. So I think taking the time to really examine those things can obviously be really helpful. It can also be really hard and uncomfortable for people.
It's the inner work is the work that makes the most difference, but people want a strategy. They want to fix their messaging. They want more email subscribers. They want all these things, but ignoring or not digging into the actual beliefs that are doing those behaviors and those tasks. If you just, figure out what those beliefs are and change them, you would move forward so much faster than trying to just, dig deeper into your messaging.
Yeah. Why do you think that people are so resistant to doing that work?
Because it's hard.
Yeah.
It's not easy to think back to your past about what could have been, what was. And people just, you have to let go a lot of stuff. And from what I know, a lot of people aren't willing to do that go back that far and just figure out what it is that is holding them back. And it's not easy work.
Yeah.
People want to do the things that are easy, that come easy to them. And that makes total sense. 1,000%. And I'll just listen to a podcast and maybe I'll figure that out. Or I'll just listen to, I'll just meditate or something like that and I'll figure it out. But when you start to dig into what's been programmed between the ages of 0 and 7, and even in the womb and even ancestral, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's there's so much opportunity when you start to reprogram, those things that have been given to you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot to wrap your head around for sure. And I think there's also a lot of shame around it whenever you finally are oh, I have these beliefs about my self-worth or about money or about the way that I look or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It can feel oh no, it's all my fault. Now I have all these problems to fix. I like to look at it as being really empowering of oh, I have control over that. That's something I can change.
Yeah.
But that can be really hard for somebody, especially someone who has never done any internal work like that.
Yeah. It's fun. That's the fun part of it is when you start to connect the dots and you're that's why I continue to do this behavior because of what so-and-so said to me when I was 7 or something like that. Or that's what I learned in school. One of the things that I had to undo was the harder you work, the more successful you'll be. And that is so not even true. And I was totally attached to success. And it sounds like you might have had a lot of success attachment too. I'll only be successful if I hit X.
Yeah.
And until I
as a kid, received a lot of praise for doing good in school and stuff because that's something that both my grandparents, who I was close with, didn't graduate high school. My parents barely graduated high school. They didn't go to college or anything. And I had the easiest time ever in school, which was great for me. But it was also something that they were oh, this was hard for me and you're doing well at it. So that must be good. So for my whole, and it served me pretty well, until I got into online business, to be honest, of okay, well, somebody tells you the things to do and then you do all the things and you do them pretty well. And then you get gold stars and a pat on the back and scholarships to college and whatever. And life is good. And then I got into running my own business and that was not the case. So I can relate to that for sure.
Yeah. So where do you think the root of that is? If you had a guess.
I think that I spent a lot of time as a kid, I was an only child and just feeling kind of on the sidelines or not seen, I guess is a way to say that. But whenever I was getting good grades or achieving things or doing well at something, I always got attention for that.
Yep.
And someone always told me how great I was and how smart I was. And so that was a guaranteed dopamine hit for me, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so
I
now
will receive love once I get this. Yeah, totally.
Exactly. And so now I've had to really work hard to embrace the mindset of not even necessarily working smarter, not harder, but that doing the right work is more important than doing more work.
Mm-hmm.
Working hard for the sake of working hard is kind of useless. So that's been a long journey for me for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. It's such a good journey though. And one thing you said, it's like, it's hard to go back and learn all those things, but at the same time, you're connecting the dots and you're also learning lessons, and those lessons are beautiful gifts.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think for me too, I'm a big like information hoarder. I'm an Enneagram 5. So I want to do like all the research. So anytime that I can like know why something is happening, like why I am the way I am, is great for me. I know not everyone feels that way, and like that's fine. But for me, anytime that I've like done some of the work you're talking about, it is just the coolest thing for me to be like, oh, I get it now. Like it makes
validating.
sense. Yeah.
So validating.
So I would love to take a second to talk about morning routines. Before we started recording, you mentioned that you have really strong feelings about morning routines, and we've talked about how the best time of day, or one of the best times of day, to do some of the subconscious reprogramming is first thing in the morning. I'm a busy mom. You started your business when you were a busy mom, and there is so much advice on the internet about how you need to have this like 85-step, super complicated morning routine with your warmed up lemon water and your eye mask and your journal and like all these things. And I'm over here like, I just hope that I have time to get a shower in before I have to wake up my kids for school. So tell us your spicy take on morning routines.
This is so relatable because when my son was a newborn, 1, 2, it's just like, you have to work out, you have to get some work done, you have to, have breakfast, you have to have your shake, you have to have all these things done. And it literally was like an 85-step morning routine. And I was successful.
Has to be like in the right order, and it has to look pretty, and you have to enjoy it the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, you achieve that 0 of the days. Mm-hmm. And so you go into you go into your day in reaction mode, and it's like, sure, you might feel good at the time because you took, whatever the part of the morning routine, but then by 10 o'clock, shit's going to hit the fan, and it always does. And now you're in reaction mode. It's like, but wait a minute, I just did this morning routine. It's supposed to make me feel so good. And this was such a huge tug of war with me because it's like, I was so like, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. Like I'm a doer, like just show me the steps. And so people that were so far ahead of me that didn't have kids, that, were not in my same shoes, were doing these beautiful 3-hour grandiose morning routines. I'm like, for the love of all things holy, like I've got 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. And so the purpose of a morning routine, what I learned is like a purpose of a morning routine is not to complete it. A purpose of a morning routine is to make you feel alive. And you can do that in 3 minutes, 30 minutes, or 3 hours. Mm-hmm. And so when I don't have time to do all those things, I will sit there for 3 minutes and I will visualize what I want my day to look like. At the end of the day, how many clients, how many things I did, how many people I connected with, whatever the heck. And what did I see? What did I hear? What did I feel? I will make that emotional so that it's almost like it's happening right now. And I will get goosebumps up the back of my neck. If I am like in it, like, oh my God, let's pretend I just got 10 clients today. Like, can you imagine feeling like how you felt if you get 10 clients? You're like, oh my gosh, all these, I'm so excited, and you put yourself in that situation and all of a sudden it's like, boom, I feel good.
Yeah, I love that. I think I'm going to steal that one. And it's to our point too earlier of like, it's not about doing more. You don't need another step in your morning routine. Probably you need fewer steps, and like I started kind of looking at it as like, okay, what's the bare minimum that I need to do for myself every morning before I like start living my life for everyone else?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's really helpful.
The only goal is to just make yourself come alive. That's literally all it is. And it doesn't have to be complicated. Just take 3 minutes out of your day. And it's just when you put, what you see, what you heard, what you feel into your visualization, it's just like, that's so much power right there. And it's like you're manifesting what you want to happen. You're creating a future memory for what's going to happen. And it just makes you come alive right then and there.
Yeah. And you're starting your day like actively choosing the feelings that you want to feel.
Yeah.
Versus saying, okay, I need to check these 10 things off my list and then getting through like number 5 and then your kid wakes up or something happens and then you
reaction
start your
mode.
Day feeling behind.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Recently I've done an episode about this. Well, I guess not super recently, maybe 2 years ago. Started doing my CEO days on Mondays. So I don't take any calls. I only do like stuff I want to do in my business and just like start the week really slow versus I had been doing them like on Thursdays. So I'd have a client call at like 8 o'clock on a Monday morning. Mm-hmm. And it has made the biggest difference in my entire week because I'm not starting out on Monday being like, oh, I didn't get done everything I needed to do or not like prioritizing myself. Yeah. And I feel like it's kind of the same thing.
It's like such a small shift, but it gives you such big dividends. All you're doing is just switching a day.
Yeah.
But it makes you feel like so much better in the beginning of the week versus, I know what it's like to be, have client calls and then all of a sudden you've got something bam smack in the middle of it and it completely throws off your energy.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, for sure. So one of the things that I feel like I talk with like my business friends a lot about is that it's so easy for us to invest in things for our business because we say, oh, it's a business write-off or it takes money to make money or, whatever, like you've heard it all. And for some reason, we have a really hard time investing in things for ourselves. So a conversation I had recently was a friend of mine was like, yeah, I'll spend like $1,000 on my business kind of without a second thought, really. But if it's like $85 to go get myself a pedicure, I'm like, oh, I don't know, that's really expensive. And I suspect that people feel the same way I know for sure about investing in like therapy and mental health and a gym membership and physical health, but I would assume that you probably butt up against that a lot with people wanting to work with you and then struggling with the fact that it costs money or how much money it costs. So what would you say to specifically a business owner who is wanting to hire someone to help with their subconscious mindset and some of these things, but is apprehensive about the money part?
Well, first I would want to know what their goals are and what are their values. Because if your values are not in alignment with your goals, it's going to feel like inner conflict. And of course, you're going to think of spending money elsewhere when actually what you need is a coach. So I would say, first of all, I would want to know like, what's your 1-year goal? And how do you plan to get there with and without a coach? And so when you see that the value of having someone help you get there faster versus the consequence of staying in the same place or, a couple of steps ahead, it's easy because like, which one do you want? For me, a lot of things are just black and white. It's just like, well, it's simple. Once you know your values and what's most important to you, and you know exactly where it is that you're going, and it, say 6 months or a year from now, it just becomes easy, and it becomes finding the right person. And it's like, are you afraid of spending the money or are you afraid of yourself not doing the work and it being a waste of money? And there's a big thing in the coaching community. It's just like, well, claiming, results that you can't even get for your clients. So you're afraid of like, well, is she actually going to be able to get me results?
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of fear that goes into it 100%. But I don't think of it as an expense at all. It's an investment in your future. And if you're not investing in your own future and in your own growth, then what is it that you're investing in instead?
Yeah.
Because you have to, like I said, you have to back your own self up. And it's just like that inner work is so important. It's so foundational. That's the first place that I would start. If I'm getting into a brand new business, it's just like you need to get your thoughts and your beliefs and all those things in alignment with your goals and, where it is you're going and your values.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think too, with the work that you do, the benefit too is like, it's not just a thing that's going to serve you right now. Right. So if you go hire a social media manager or somebody to like write copy for your launch in your business or whatever, you will probably see like hopefully a fairly direct ROI from that, but it's only going to be for like this short period while you're working together or while your launch is going on or whatever, versus investing in mindset and subconscious and like getting your head on straight is going to serve you indefinitely in your business and in your real life.
There's a ripple effect. 100%. Yeah. When I was like a stressed out basket case before, and it's just like, I think about it and it's like, I was so dysregulated. But if you would have told me, 6 years ago that my nervous system was dysregulated, I would have been like, I'm sorry, what? Like, stop it. That doesn't even make any sense. I don't even know what you're talking about. But it's like, when I hired my first coach, like it was not an inexpensive investment at all. But I also knew that I had full body, hell yes, belief in myself. I had trust in the coach that I invested in. And what was the consequence of not doing it? And it's just like, I learned so much from him that I still use today. It's like looking at people's, their language or, what are you making this mean? I would have never, ever questioned all the things that I question myself today without hiring that first coach. And it was all mindset. It's just, but you want the business growth. But the mindset is the precursor to the business growth.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, how many clients have you had that have told you like, oh, I've spent thousands and thousands of dollars on business strategists and done for you services and this and that, and it's never worked. And then as soon as they work on their mindset, all of a sudden they're doing less and it's working better.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So tell us with our last few minutes, like very tangibly, how we can work with you to support us in some of this stuff and like what that looks like.
That's a great question. Did you ever like in the middle of the day, you're like 2:00 and you find yourself spinning. You're like, I don't know, like, should I do this? Should I do that? Should I do this? And you've got 85 different tabs open and you're like, I've just gotten 0 done for the last 45 minutes. What is even happening? I used to find myself in this place all the time. And I made a mindset activation that you can just pop in your ears. It's free for those times of the day when you just when you're giving your power away to external things and you want to claim your own inner power. It's something that you pop on right away. That's called Activate. And I've also published a planner that is on Amazon called Becoming Her. And I am currently creating a school community. It's not ready yet, but I also have my one-off sessions and then my larger one-on-one coaching package available for my clients.
Amazing. Awesome. Well, to wrap us up, can you tell us if somebody's like, okay, I'm like ready to start thinking about working on this stuff? I know you gave us our 3 questions, but what is like the smallest bite first step that somebody can take towards working on their subconscious mindset?
Well, it all starts with knowing what you want, why you want it, and what it does for you when you have it. Because people say, I want 5K months. I want 10K months. It's like, okay, and?
Yeah.
And every single person that I come in contact with, they're like, well, what's your goal? 5K months, 10K months. It's like, okay, so what is that going to do for you? Mm-hmm. And when you know the bigger reason why you want that, it becomes the motivation for you to actually do the thing. And so when I start working with people, they start, we set their goals, we figure out what their top values are, and we align their goals with their values, and then they start doing the work. And when they start doing the work, there's going to be these blocks that come up, and it's like, well, I can't do this because of this. And that's where that rewiring process comes in, because it's like, your toes are at the starting line and you know what you need to do, but are you actually really doing it? And when you've got those pauses in your day where you're like, why can't I just do this? Like, what is happening? Like, I don't understand what's going on. That means that there's likely something that's hidden that's blocking you. And one other thing that I forgot to mention, I've got it's a $77 offer where you answer some very poignant questions, and I help you figure out what it is that those blocks are that are holding you back. So you're not having to do all that, all that inner work. You just want to get over this one thing and you can't figure out what it is. And so being able to it's almost like a mini mindset audit where you just answer a whole bunch of questions and then I give you a Loom video back. This is because you said this is what this means. Because you're experiencing this is where this came from. And so when you're aware of the subconscious blocks that are holding you back, you're like, oh, okay, so now it's not hidden anymore. Now I can see what it is. Now I can do something about it.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds like a great offer. I think so many of us, we're so busy and a lot of us just want someone to tell us what to do. So
just get me over. I'm in A, I need to get to B. Just tell me, tell me how to get there. And I don't want to, if it's for people that don't even they don't want to take 6 months to rewire their mindset. They don't want to do 3 months of ancestral work or anything like that. I want something small and I want something to move me forward now. And that's the
tell me what to do and I will do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for being here, Jen. This was a great conversation. And I hope that it has opened people's eyes a little bit to how important our subconscious mindset is, but also that we have a lot of control over it. It really is up to us. I know we can feel a little helpless or it's too big of a mountain to climb, but it really isn't. And there are people like Jen out there with lots of resources to help us with that. So Thanks again for being here. All of Jen's links will be in the show notes, and we will see you next time on the Six Figure Brand. Thanks for tuning in to the Six Figure Brand Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to rate the show and leave a review on whatever app you're listening on. And as a thank you, I'll send you coffee on me. Yes, I'm serious. As a smaller show for now, you taking the time to do this makes a huge impact on how we can reach more people and how I can continue to create this content for free. When you take a screenshot of your review, follow and tag me on Instagram at @SpectandCo. I'll send you a $5 Starbucks gift card. As always, don't forget to check out the show notes for any links or resources I mentioned during the episode. Thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you next week.